Tonight, eviction delayed.
There's a lot of evidence and there's a lot of important things to consider.
The court ruling allowing a homeless encampment in Kitchener to stay in place even longer than the region expected. Tornado anniversary.
It's been a long year. There's been a lot of work to get to where we are.
1 year later, the community of Ayr still recovering.
It makes you stand up and take notice.
From a violent storm. Bringing people together, but dividing some neighbors.
It's every weekend, and it's during the week.
The complaints and the violation that have put a wedding venue in Oxford County.
And that's why we're here, and to make things right.
In the spotlight. Good evening, thanks for joining us. The plan to move people out of the region's largest encampment is on hold tonight. A judge says nobody can be evicted or barred from the site at Victoria and Weber in Kitchener until the constitutionality of a new bylaw pertaining to that site is properly tested in court. Let's go to CTV's Krista Simpson now, live to break all of this down for us. Krista.
Tony, the region says it needs to clear the site for a major transit hub project. Construction on that is scheduled to start early next year. But now the region has been told they can't move encampment residents for now.
Back in April, Region of Waterloo councillors approved a site-specific bylaw that allowed for the clearing of the encampment at Victoria and Weber Streets in Kitchener by December 1st. The region promising that it would work with those living at the site to find alternative housing by then. Now, that plan is on hold until the constitutionality of that site-specific bylaw is tested in court.
We went to court asking for an injunction and we were successful, and the court agreed that the region shouldn't be able to do anything related to this bylaw until they can determine if it's constitutional.
It's because of a previous court ruling from 2023. Then Justice Michael Valenti ruled that it was unconstitutional for people to be moved from the site because the region did not have an adequate number of accessible shelter spaces. The judge stating evictions violated the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms by depriving the residents of life, liberty, and security of the person. The judge also saying the decision could be revisited if the region could prove it was no longer violating those rights. A hearing to look at the constitutionality and legality of April's site-specific bylaw has been scheduled for November 19th to 21st.
People living at the encampment are the most vulnerable, and there's a lot of harms that could happen to them if they're evicted with nowhere else to go.
The site is set to be used as a staging and laydown area for construction of the Kitchener Central Transit Hub. The region says they need it by December for preparatory work before construction starts in March 2026. Justice Michael Gibson making it clear there would be a meticulous review of all the evidence before anyone at the encampment is forced to move, writing the court will not rush to failure.
There's a lot of evidence and there's a lot of important things to consider. There's a lot of expert evidence, a lot of important constitutional law arguments that will be put before the court, and I appreciate that the court is going to take the time to understand how important these are and not rushed into anything.
The region of Waterloo did not provide an interview but said in a statement, "We respect the court's decision to maintain the status quo at the site until the court hears and can consider all of the evidence and legal submissions for a full consideration of the issues in November 2025. Region staff will continue to provide supports at the site, including individual housing plans and connections to services. And while some people have already found alternative housing through the region, the encampment remains large. Ashley Skidema estimating 40 to 50 people are living there right now.
It is such a fluid place where people go who have nowhere else to go, and so there's still a lot of people who rely on that as a shelter of last resort.
The judge's ruling means people can come and go for the next few months.
There is such a sigh of relief that we don't have to go down and warn residents that they could be evicted at any time.
Justice Gibson's ruling is in place until November 21st. That's scheduled to be the end of the hearing on whether the site-specific bylaw is constitutional.
The following is a message from the Canadian National Public Alerting System.
Ontario Amber Alert in effect. The Peel Regional Police have requested an Amber Alert on August 21, 2025. Victim 1 Zaid Rahman, 8 months old, boy, Middle Eastern. Suspect 1 Shahzaib Meeman, 40 years old, male, Middle Eastern. Suspect vehicle is a 2023 gray Nissan Rogue, other license plate CZLM113, Ontario. Last seen in Brampton. If observed, call 911 https://amberalert.up.ca.
Unwavering support from the community. August 17th, 2024, a day many in the small town of Ayr will never forget.
It's been a few more gray hairs, I would say.
The community was hit hard by an EF2 tornado with winds topping 190 kilometers an hour, ripping through a local park, buildings, and neighborhoods. While no one was hurt, the wind left a trail of damage in its wake.
When it hits home, it makes you stand up and take notice.
Ayr's Home Hardware was nearly demolished. Its structure barely left standing, but the owner says the store has been slowly coming back to life.
And at the beginning, the community outpouring of support was amazing. There's been a lot of work to get to where we are, but I'm optimistic about where we are.
While it's been a long year of rebuilding, the owner says construction progress is steady and nearly complete. The store now standing strong with a new roof and wall, both of which were torn apart by the storm.
We ended up restoring the building, and then that process required permits. And then, of course, after that process, they started the construction. And after the construction, our team comes back in and we actually start merchandising.
Team Vincent Motorsports is next door to Home Hardware and was also hit. The owner says seeing both businesses damaged in one storm was overwhelming.
I believe that these days we will take the warnings a lot more seriously than we have in past. Our losses here at the dealership were in around $1 million of product. Getting into it was very devastating.
Work to restore the damaged Cohen Park and nearby buildings have been complete. Mayor Sue Foxton says replacing the trees that were uprooted remains a priority for the township.
We had to buy a lot of trees and replace a lot of trees, but the saddest thing is you can't replace the 100-year-old trees that we lost. Now there's more trees to plant that we will plant this fall.
Over 1 year later, Ayr is still rebuilding, but residents say if this year has shown anything, it's that the community's resilience runs deep.
We pull together, and that's been shown time and time again over the past couple of years. We're thankful that tornado turned and went all the way down the Nith. If it had stayed on its path, it would have wiped out the town of Ayr. We were blessed.
The Home Hardware in Ayr aims to open its doors to customers by mid to late September. Tony.
Okay, Hannah Schmidt once again updating us on that tornado aftermath. Hannah, thank you for that. Well, time now for a first check on the weather as we head over to Ashley Bacon live in studio, joining us tonight with the forecast. Good to see you once again in the studio.
Good to see you, Tony. And I mean, it's certainly not tornado weather tonight. It was what I would say a perfect summer day for Tony.
Oh, I loved it. You're right on about that. And it's kind of nice that we haven't really had a lot of active weather. We got that rain that we really needed this week, and then a little bit of sunshine back today.
Absolutely. But, you know, that sunshine, Tony, it's not going to last too much longer. There is a chance for some showers over the weekend. But let's take a look at our satellite right now. Clear conditions we're experiencing today. That will continue into tonight with very comfortable overnight lows of around 13 degrees and clear skies. So if you're planning your evening and think maybe an evening walk, maybe some stargazing, or since the fire ban has been lifted in many municipalities, maybe a good night for a little bonfire. Current temperatures in Kitchener-Waterloo, 23 degrees, sitting just under our average this time of year, which is 24. Still feeling closer to 28 with the humidity, but overall, Tony, compared to what we've seen over the last few weeks and months, less humidity and more comfortable summer-like conditions.
All right, Ash, thank you. We'll get the rest of the forecast from you a little bit later. An elaborate wedding venue that's aimed at bringing people together is dividing some of its neighbors. Several people in Drumbo say the Katana estate has changed their lives for the worse due to excessive noise and traffic. And as it turns out, the venue did not obtain the proper permits to operate in the first place. CTV's Spencer Turcott has been looking into this story for us and joins us live now. So Spencer, once the township found out about this zoning infraction, they issued an order to cease operations.
They did, but an interim injunction to stay the order was granted by the Superior Court, meaning the weddings can't continue for now, leaving residents at their wits' end. It's a picture-perfect wedding venue fit for any "I do." Yet the Kitchener estate has many of its neighbors saying, "I don't."
You can call the cops and send the cops up there and nothing happens.
Myra Livingston has lived in the township of Blandford Blenheim since 1989. She says her life has been flipped upside down since 2021 after this mansion began operating as a wedding venue.
It's every weekend, and it's during the week because the bands come and practice during the week, and then there's the backup beeping from the catering vehicles.
Longtime resident Wayne Coughlin lives 600 feet from the grounds and says the music sometimes goes until 2 in the morning.
Maybe with a break for speeches around 6 when we can hear the names of the bride, groom, wedding party, and other speeches.
The bright lights have made it tough to sleep.
I mean, that whole sky over there is lit up. They have the power behind the lighting system, and the speaker system is beyond anything I have ever experienced.
After residents noticed additional structures being built on the estate grounds, complaints were made to the township.
It was realized that a special events venue was operating on lands that were zoned general agricultural. In addition to that, it was determined that there had been structures built on that site that had been built without the mandatory building permits.
After receiving a notice of violation, property owners Joseph and Lydia Kitchener, along with their representation, applied for official plan and zoning bylaw amendments.
I do note and recognize that this operation has been here for a number of years, about 3 years already, and has operated, we understand, without the proper approvals, and that's why we're here, and to make things right.
I'm just curious why it wasn't initiated to seek permits for these structures until this was kind of brought to our attention.
If I had to be more honestly, lack of understanding that this was on my end requiring building permits from a private use.
CTV News did make several attempts to contact the venue and its owners. They did not respond. In the end, council voted against the application to legalize the existing special events facility on the site. The request then made its way to the county level, where Oxford Council denied the application too. And while Blandford Blenheim staff issued an order directing the Kitcheners to cease operations, the Kitcheners went to the Superior Court and a stay was granted, meaning wedding season can continue in full swing at the Kitchener estate, despite operating a special events venue on land not zoned for such use.
The township's done everything possible to uphold that April 16th decision from council in the public planning meeting.
While the Superior Court's decision is temporary, the Kitcheners did file an appeal with the Ontario Land Tribunal following the township's decision. It leaves the door open to the possibility of the venue being able to operate indefinitely, and it has many in the community concerned for what a decision in favor of the venue could mean.
For them to be able to just come in and illegally do what they're doing, set up and do it all illegally, and disrupt the whole area, and then to get away with it, unfortunately sets a precedence.
And a date for that Ontario Land Tribunal hearing has not been set yet, but scheduling for it could begin as early as next Tuesday, and the outcome of it all, Tony, will have major implications for communities around Ontario.
Okay, we'll certainly keep an eye on that. CTV's Spencer Turcott with new reporting on that issue. Spencer, thank you. One day after the end of the Air Canada flight attendants strike, and with more aircraft taking off now, CTV News has been hearing from passengers. They're telling us they're frustrated by what they see as Air Canada's inability and apparent unwillingness to book them on the next available flight home. CTV's Adrienne Gobriel now on the complaints and the failure of regulations to protect consumers.
The Britton family's European summer adventure ended with their scheduled flight home with Air Canada canceled.
It felt like at every step of the way, instead of trying to provide a solution, it was, you can have a refund. Please have a refund. And we knew that that was really just a way of them absolving themselves of the responsibility.
According to the Canadian Transportation Agency's regulations, if an airline can't rebook you on their airline following a cancellation, a customer may choose a reservation from the next available flight that is operated by any carrier. The Britons found the next available tickets on a United flight from Italy to Kelowna. Air Canada declined to book them.
They said they didn't have access to it.
Stuck in Lisbon, Kyla Kumar also reached out to CTV News after Air Canada refused to rebook her family on a Delta flight home.
Very clear refusal to book us on another carrier.
CTV News also received an audio recording of an Air Canada agent refusing to rebook a customer because there was only a business class seat available.
You are required to put me in that space.
That is something you can take up with customer relations to see why is that not being offered, because on our end, we have to maintain the same cabin.
If only business class seats are available on next available flight, they have to rebook you.
Passenger advocates say Air Canada is knowingly breaking federal regulations for financial gain.
There is sufficient ground here to lay criminal charges.
Somebody should be doing an outreach to the CTA and saying, okay, guys, how are you going to handle this one?
CTV News did ask the Canadian Transportation Agency what they're doing to hold Air Canada responsible for breaking federal passenger protection regulations. The CTA didn't directly answer the question, saying in part that their enforcement team is actively looking into the situation and will take appropriate action as necessary.
The CTA is supposed to be the regulatory body that protects Canadian citizens. And again, these things happen, and there's really been no improvements.
CTV News has given Air Canada 2 days to respond to our questions. They've yet to return our email. Adrian Gabriel, CTV News, Mississauga, Ontario.
Meanwhile, the many passengers still waiting to get to their destinations include a 14-year-old Kitchener girl who's currently in Europe, who we told you about on Monday. Tonight, her grandmother telling us she's still worried about the trip home. CTV's Colton Weens joining us now live with an update on this story. Colton, the teen is expected to return this weekend.
Yeah, that's right, Tony. Mary Lewis's granddaughter traveled from Spain to Paris, and from there she'll head back to Canada. Lewis says the teen's flight is scheduled for this weekend, but she's worried because she hasn't received any communication from the airline. Air Canada's website says 97% of domestic flights are expected to operate over the next 24 hours, as well as 99% of U.S. flights and 76% of other international routes. A return to full service could take up to 10 days, and while a tentative agreement Tuesday ended a 3-day strike by flight attendants, the ratification vote will be held between August 27th and September 6th. Lewis says she's worried about her granddaughter being an unaccompanied minor. She's tried calling the airline but hasn't been able to get a hold of anyone and worries the flight attendants might strike again. Lewis feels there should be more communication with customers who are left wondering what could happen.
Incredibly stressful. It's all the unknown factors that make it even more stressful. Like, I feel like if Air Canada, even when they were deciding on going on this strike, took into consideration things like unaccompanied minors. Like, you can go on their website, you can find all kinds of information for traveling, but there is absolutely nothing for unaccompanied minors. You can't contact anybody.
Now, Lewis says she's hoping that nothing changes between now and the weekend when her granddaughter gets home, but she won't feel settled until she's back. Tony.
That certainly raises a lot of questions. Okay, Colton Weens, appreciate that update for us on the Air Canada situation. Coming up, a grieving family's push for changes to the healthcare system. The ER wait before the death of a Southern Ontario teen that has his parents fighting for reform and for justice.
I'm Heather Center, and it's been 1 week since a dead bat with rabies was found at a daycare in Brantford. Now Public Health is recommending every child that attends get a post-exposure vaccine. That story is just ahead.
Well, nothing but sunshine for the next 24 hours, but you might want to pack an umbrella if you're headed out this weekend. I'll have details on how much wet stuff we can expect coming up later in the show.
Download the CTV News app and stay on top of local stories as they unfold.
We go to a dramatic scene unfolding.
Customize your feed and watch live wherever you are. ctvkitchener.ca, your home for news. When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400. From your screen to ours. Text 10400.
It's been a week since a dead bat was found at a daycare in Brantford, which tested positive for rabies. And now Public Health is recommending all of the kids who attend that daycare get a post-exposure vaccine. CTV's Heather Centerin is live to tell us why. Heather, we do know that the dead bat was handled by one child and one staff member.
Grand Erie Public Health confirmed that everyone who had direct contact with this rabid bat has received a post-exposure shot to prevent rabies. After that, Creative Minds Daycare was closed for several days, then reopened earlier this week. But now Public Health says all kids who attend that daycare are encouraged to get the vaccine. Public Health says their investigation into the situation revealed no additional adults or children made contact with the dead bat that tested positive for rabies. But since this was not the only bat spotted at the daycare, they advise every child gets the post-exposure vaccine just to be safe. The full PEP vaccine series includes injections, typically in the arm. The initial dose is called the rabies immune globulin, followed by 4 doses of the rabies vaccine, and the series is given over a 2-week period. Adult staff members don't have to get it unless they had direct contact, but Public Health says adults would know if they had direct contact, whereas young children might not be sure. Last week, a parent whose kid attends the daycare told CTV News they spotted several live bats there before. We obtained several videos that appear to show live bats in and near the daycare.
Although we did not identify anyone else who had any confirmed direct contact, weighing that with the fact that these are very young children who are going to be unable to provide us with a history of whether or not there may have been contact, weighing that along with knowing the severity of rabies, out of an abundance of caution, we're now recommending that all children at a daycare receive the rabies post-exposure prophylaxis.
Public Health hosted a clinic for these vaccines yesterday, and there are more scheduled in the coming days. Public Health wouldn't say how many children already got the vaccine, but last week the daycare told us they served 145 families. Tony.
All right, CTV's Heather Senerin with an update on that story for us. Heather, thank you. Next, we turn to a family's quest for health care reform following the death of their 16-year-old son. They say he spent more than 8 hours waiting in a hospital ER and then died later in hospital. As CTV's Allison Hurst reports, they want justice and to spare other families and patients from a similar experience.
Finley Vanderverken, seen here scoring a goal for his hockey team, was a smart, active kid, an older brother with a big heart.
He loved his ice hockey. He loved his team, being part of a team.
But in February 2024, at 16 years old, he died in hospital.
From arriving in the hospital to taking him off the machine, 27 hours is unbelievable.
For something that is treatable.
Vanderverken had a migraine and then began experiencing severe pain, so his mother drove him to the Oakville Trafalgar Memorial Hospital emergency room.
He was crying out in pain. He was just looking at me as if, what the hell's happening, Mom? And I just remember being terrified, that gut feeling that says something's really, really wrong.
She didn't even park the car, abandoning it and rushing him inside.
He just said, please help me.
His parents say he was triaged at 10 p.m., but it would be more than 8 hours before he saw a doctor despite his mom's repeated requests for help.
He was triaged as a level 2 on the Canadian Triage and Acuity Scale. The guidelines say that ideally a patient who is a level 2, which is the second highest, should be seen by a physician within 15 minutes.
According to the family statement of claim, hospital staff ordered him pain medications and tracked his vitals. The first physician saw Vanderverken just after 6 a.m. and wrote his oxygen saturations had been decreasing throughout the morning.
You see these saturations dropping in real time, but the question remains, we're not sure what was done, if anything, between that, approximately 10 p.m. and 6:22 in the morning.
According to the family statement of claim, Vanderverken was experiencing sepsis, pneumonia with hypoxia, and he was at high risk for acute deterioration. He was transferred to Sick Kids in Toronto and hooked up to an ECMO machine until his family was told he would not recover.
This is not a decision any parent should ever have to make. But yeah, there is no other choice. There was no other choice for us to...
You didn't want the pain.
No. So we had to let him go.
The family is suing the hospital and staff. None of the family's claims have been proven in court. In a statement, Halton Healthcare says in part, we extend our deepest condolences to the Vanderverken family on the tragic loss of Finley. They go on to write they are deeply committed to delivering high-quality, compassionate care to the communities they serve across all 3 of their hospitals. They are also promising to actively advance several key initiatives to improve patient care.
I do believe that Halton Healthcare is taking this seriously.
The Vanderverkens are also pushing for a coroner's inquest. They have started social media pages called Finley's Voice to advocate for healthcare reform. And they've launched a petition to pass a law around children's wait times in ERs and mandate oversight, saying this is what he would have wanted.
He just had, from when he was born, this heart that had so much love to give.
And they hope their advocacy can keep that love alive. Alison Hurst, CTV News.
And we turn now to some breaking news. You probably got an Amber Alert on your phone in the last little while and saw it come up across the screen here on our show. It has been issued by Peel Regional Police. We have some more details now. The victim is an 8-month-old boy, Zaid Rahman, who has black hair and is described as Middle Eastern. Now, the suspect associated with this alert is seen right here, 40-year-old Shahzaib Miman. He is 40 years old, around 120 pounds, with black hair, Middle Eastern. The suspect vehicle is a 2023 gray Nissan Rogue. We also know the license plate number, CZLM113. The car was last seen in Brampton. Now, anyone who comes across the vehicle or this suspect is asked to call 911 immediately. And we're taking a live look outside now on this Thursday evening. After a nice sunny day, we're seeing a nice blue sky at the moment. Ashley's back in to tell us what the weather's expected to bring us heading into the weekend in just a few moments. Also coming up, snow plows in August. Don't worry, we've still got a lot of time before winter. This was a truck rodeo. CTV's Karis Map tells us why plow operators were showing off their skills today and what was at stake. And next, no appeal. Developing news about the acquittal of 5 former World Junior hockey players. Ashley Bacon is with us for weather tonight. Alex enjoying a couple of days off. Yes. And thank you for adding a pop of color to the set.
You're very welcome. You know, it just felt like a bright pink kind of day.
Looking sharp.
Thank you.
I love it. If I could pull off a jacket like that on this show, I'd be doing it.
I reckon you can. I think
maybe.
Well, that'll be maybe for Valentine's Day.
Perhaps. Yeah, it's got to be themed. Okay, as far as the weather goes, though, we're now really starting to feel more like late August, that time of year where everyone goes, okay, yeah, fall is a few weeks away.
I mentioned to Leanne in the 5 o'clock show that when I was out this morning, I actually noticed there was lots of leaves on the ground.
It's so early, by the way.
It's happening.
What's going on?
I think it's just the swing in temperatures, and we're going to continue to see a bit of a swing over the next few days. So don't shoot the messenger, guys. But over at least the next 24 hours, will continue to be beautiful summer conditions like we saw today. Taking a look outside our studios here tonight, you can see a nice breeze still in the air, and it is still quite warm with next to no humidity. So conditions are continuing to feel very nice for August. And certainly as we get into the last few weeks of summer, you know, we got to soak up those nice sunny days as we can. As we get into the evening, though, this is really your time to get out and enjoy those outdoors before we might see some showers over the weekend. Right now, we're still sitting at 23 degrees, so a very comfortable evening. Our average this time of year is just 24 degrees, so we're right around our average. 28 with the humidity, so not too hot compared to what we saw in July. This is definitely a far more comfortable summer's evening. As we look at our almanac, you can see the comparison here. We're sitting right on par, right where we should be for this time of year. Overnight low of 13 degrees, but it can be quite hot in August. 31.7 back in 1974, and it can go the other way too. 4.8 as an overnight low back in 2004. Now, what's really changing is we're getting less and less daylight. Sun rising at 6:33 and setting now at 8:16 p.m. So you want to get out while the light is still out. You're going to have to do it a little earlier now as we get into closer to fall. Not quite there yet, but we're getting there. As I mentioned, clear conditions overnight, perfect for a bonfire now that the fire ban has been lifted in the most municipalities. Make sure you check your locals before you go out and do so. Also great for stargazing. Sunny conditions tomorrow, but we have a risk of morning fog. So if you're on the roads first thing in the morning and it is foggy, make sure you keep those headlights and fog lights on just to be safe. As we get into our futurecast starting tonight, You can see there's not a lot of cloud cover into the evening and into Friday. As I mentioned, it will be predominantly clear. However, as we get into Saturday, we're going to see a band of precipitation start to move into the region. So there is a chance we'll see some showers throughout Saturday and Sunday and then into next week. We're going to see a drop in temperatures. Looking at our 7-day forecast starting in Waterloo region, those showers continuing through to Monday with that temperature dropping to, Tony, just 18 degrees and 17 on Tuesday. So if you're like me and like a hot summer's day, you know, like I said, don't shoot the messenger. I'm sure we'll get a couple of warm ones before it's all over, but you might want to pull out a light jacket for those days. Definitely have an umbrella handy. In Lambton, Kent, Essex, similar conditions, 27 for your Friday, 26 with a chance for rain over the weekend with showers and cooler conditions to start your work week on Monday and Tuesday. And lastly, in southern Georgian Bay, showers for your Saturday and Sunday and into next week with temperatures dropping by Sunday evening. Overnight low, though, on Tuesday, just 8 degrees, Tony. So, you know, more leaves are bound to fall, and it's certainly going to start to feel more and more like fall, but not quite there yet. We will see a bit more warmth surely in the coming weeks. Let's take a look at our Weather Watcher photo. This one was sent in from Gord. He says since the water levels in Lake Victoria and Stratford are low at the moment, the Light Up the Night kayak group moved their paddle rather, to the Thames River in downtown St. Mary's. But you know what? It was warm enough the other night that even if they went in for a dip, I'm sure they wouldn't have complained too much.
What a cool idea.
It's beautiful,
I love that.
isn't
That's
it?
Very picturesque, and what a beautiful bit of a sunset over the Thames there as well.
It is, and it's, you know, I mean, it's safe if you want to get out and paddle in the evening. Well, it's still quite warm out. Put the lights on your board and have a way with it.
And that proves summer's still around. By the way,
it's still here.
I refuse to put the shorts away yet. I refuse to put the white sneakers away yet. I refuse to put the sun hat away yet. It's all happening for several more weeks.
I think we'll still get a false summer sometime in September. So
I think so. We always
fingers crossed. We always do, right?
Looking forward to that. All right. Thanks, Ash.
Thank you.
Now let's turn to some breaking news. We are hearing that the Crown has decided not to appeal the acquittals of 5 former World Junior hockey players following a high-profile sexual assault trial that happened in London earlier this year. A lawyer for Alex Formanton, one of the men acquitted, told TSN today that he was notified of the decision by the Office of Ontario's Attorney General today. A spokesperson for the Attorney General's office has not returned a request for comment. The Crown had 30 days to appeal after the judge acquitted all 5 players. Stay with CTV News on air and online for more on this developing story. Well, Mark Carney and Donald Trump finally got on the phone today. Coming up, what we're hearing about the Prime Minister and U.S. President's much anticipated check-in on the trade war. An update now on discussions surrounding the trade war. Canada's Foreign Affairs Minister met with her U.S. counterpart in person for the first time today. The two discussed the wars in Ukraine, Gaza, and countering China. And then the Prime Minister and President spoke by phone. CTV's Judy Trin is in the U.S. Capitol to tell us more.
This is the first in-person meeting between Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand. The State Department says the two discussed Haiti, Hamas, peace negotiations between Russia and Ukraine, and countering China. The U.S. trade war wasn't in the readout, but analysts say it likely loomed over the talks.
In Donald Trump's world, everything is linked to everything else. And so if Canada's in a place of disagreement with the U.S. on Ukraine or on Gaza or on Haiti, then that's not something that will be helpful to the negotiations.
An example of this, on July 31st, Trump posted that Canada's intention to recognize a Palestinian state would make it difficult to make a trade deal. A day later, Trump imposed 35% tariffs on Canadian goods not covered under the North American Trade Agreement. Earlier this week, Anand traveled to Finland to meet with Nordic foreign ministers to discuss how to support Ukraine's push for security guarantees. Before the meeting, CTV News asked Anand if U.S. trade tensions put pressure on Canada to align with American interests.
The work that we're doing together is to ensure that the dialogue between our two countries along multiple issues remains open and strong. And thus far, we have had this very strong relationship.
Anand didn't answer questions about the state of trade negotiations, but today some movement as the Prime Minister spoke to the President. The readout describes their conversations as productive and wide-ranging. They discussed trade challenges and long-term peace and security for Ukraine. The Prime Minister's office says the two leaders agreed to reconvene their conversations. Meanwhile, Carney is planning to travel to Mexico in mid-September to meet with President Claudia Sheinbaum. The two plan to find common ground so they can fight back against Trump's trade war. Judy Trin, CTV News, Washington.
Let's recap our top stories now. Leanne Evans in studio with us tonight. And Leanne, a court ruling is putting the plan to move people out of the region's largest encampment on hold.
Yeah, we're talking about the encampment at Victoria and Weber Streets in Kitchener. The site is needed for construction of a major transit hub, but a judge says nobody can be evicted or barred from the site until the constitutionality of a bylaw is properly tested in court. A hearing to look at that and the legality of the site-specific bylaw has been scheduled for November. It has been 1 year since an EF2 tornado tore through the community of Ayr. Winds toppled trees, ripped through neighborhoods, and nearly demolished a home hardware store. That shop hoping to reopen in late September. Work to restore the damaged Cowan Park and nearby buildings has been complete.
And Leanne, looking at what our digital team has online tonight, we've actually got an update on the food bank's latest campaign.
Yeah, exactly. Kim Wilhelm, the CEO of the Food Bank of Waterloo Region, joined us in studio earlier today to provide an update on the Full Bellies Happy Hearts campaign. They have raised 1.2 million meals with a goal to reach 1.5 by the end of August. So there is still time to help. To join in on the fight against food insecurity in Waterloo Region, you can watch that full video over on our website. It is ctvnewskitchener.ca. You can also watch the entire interview with Kim Wilhelm on our website, Tony.
It's always incredible to see what this community accomplishes to help out its neighbors.
It certainly is.
All right. Thanks, Leanne.
Thank you.
We are a long way from winter, don't have to remind you of that, but snowplow operators from around Waterloo Region were sharpening their skills today at the annual truck rodeo. CTV's Karis Map now on the results that made history ahead of a larger province-wide competition.
It was off to the rodeo Thursday morning in Heidelberg with snowplow drivers showing off their abilities.
This is a competition that showcases their skill, their driving ability, their spatial awareness behind the wheel.
This year, 24 drivers navigating the course in preparation for the winter.
Everybody you have here are from the municipalities in the region of Waterloo, and they'll be behind the wheel in winter events, maintaining all those roads through those storms.
Fastest isn't necessarily the best. The competition is judged by points rather than time.
You start with a perfect score when you get to each station, and then they take points off for mistakes.
Tight turns, precise backups, and even an inspection station where operators need to identify truck defects.
It can be stressful, but I just go and have fun. We all kind of do everything a little different, so it's nice to just see how everybody else does it.
It may be a warm summer day, but organizers say each station simulates situations the driver may face come wintertime.
Maneuvering around vehicles that happen to be parked on the road, being accurate in terms of where their wing is on the curb, creating some neatness in their plow route.
I'm in what's called a single axle, and it's a much smaller truck, and it has a different turn radius as opposed to these with the tandem axles, and they're a little bit more difficult to turn.
The top two drivers qualify for provincials. This year, Chris Painter driving into first place once again, and will be heading to Carleton Place in September.
We're not a part of the snow belt, so there are guys up there that are very busy compared to us. So their seat time compared to us is sometimes double, triple. So to be able to come up from Southern Ontario and try to, represent the South of saying, hey, we get snow too.
The second place driver, Darby Lehman, making history as the first woman to ever compete at the provincial competition.
It's just overwhelming and insane. Like, obviously it's a competition to do this, but at the end of the day, it's all for fun. And the main goal is to just test yourself, and you end up going. Like, I didn't think I would ever end up going to provincials.
Kara Smapp, CTV News, Heidelberg.
From Wonderwall to Champagne Supernova, the songs of British band Oasis are sure to be ringing out over Toronto this weekend. Coming up, fans rush to get their hands on some merch today ahead of the highly anticipated show. Excitement is building for fans of Oasis. The British band is set to take the stage at Rogers Stadium in Toronto this weekend. But ahead of those highly anticipated shows, fans joined a massive lineup to get their hands on some official band merch at a pop-up store today. CTV's Sean Leathong was there.
It can be a t-shirt, an iconic bucket hat, a shot glass, or an Adidas jersey. An array of Oasis merchandise at this pop-up shop has fans grabbing what they can.
They're one of the greatest rock and roll bands of all time. It's a pretty big deal.
After a 15-year hiatus, the group is coming together for a reunion tour.
The Oasis Live 25 World Tour is set to hit Rogers Stadium this Sunday and Monday, one of only 5 North American stops, and this is a chance for many fans to prepare.
I'm trying to actually cosplay as Liam on Sunday, so I was trying to go as much of a dark fit as humanly possible.
Oasis faithful were lining up outside OK Studios at 468 Queen Street West as early as 7:30 this morning.
There's a nice buzz here. There will be a buzz at the concert. I'm sure people will be buzzing about it for days after.
For many here, these concerts will be their first chance to see Oasis, as their music seems to cut across generations.
90s rock style is very nostalgic for a lot of us. We grew up with our dads and older brothers playing this music.
When doors opened, fans started filing in, making a straight line for the Adidas jerseys.
I want to get those Adidas. They're a special collaboration, and they're selling like crazy.
It's a little bit of madness in here, just a little bit.
With prices ranging from $80 to $190, there was no hesitation.
It feels amazing. I can't believe it. Yeah, it's amazing. Yay!
And because the Adidas merchandise are the hottest items, there is a limit, just 2 per person. For all the other merchandise, it's fair game, so there were some big hauls.
I grabbed everything I saw that looked cute. So I grabbed a black Oasis shirt, a white Oasis shirt, a black Oasis shirt. Lots of fun stuff, tour program.
Bucket hat, must have. Parka, must have. I'll bring the attitude as well.
The bucket hats that I said so. T-shirt.
I got a Adidas jersey, black.
So when it's time to hit the cash, the final tally was...
God, I don't even want to tell you. A mortgage payment.
I'm not proud, I'm going back.
You're going back?
I'm doing a second sweep.
$548. Worth it? Oh, God, yeah. But this store won't live forever. They're open daily from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. on weekdays and 8 p.m. on weekends, remaining open until next Wednesday. Sean Leathong, CTV News.
As someone who loved Oasis in high school, went to one of their shows in 2009, I'm feeling everything those people are saying right now. Let's check in with Omar now and find out what's coming up later tonight on CTV National News.
Tonight, a mom's warning after a devastating loss.
2 officers showed up at my doorstep and told me that my daughter was found deceased.
And what ChatGPT wrote to her daughter before she took her own life. That story and more later on CTV National News.
Well, Friday is shaping up to be the weather day of the week for many people, with a clear sky to start your day and warm conditions into the afternoon. I'll have more details coming up. Well, Thursday nights for the fan favorites, starting off with E-Talk at 7 o'clock, then triple The Big Bang Theory, finishing off the night with The Rookie back-to-back episodes from 9 to 10.
All right, we're going to check in with Leanne one more time for some breaking news right now. Leanne.
Tony, the Amber Alert that was issued just after 6 p.m. has now been canceled. The child has been located safely. Most people likely saw that alert come across the screens on our newscast or on your phone as well. Again, that Amber Alert canceled. The child found safely. Tony.
Okay, and that is a good news update on that story, Leanne. Thank you so much for that. And Ashley, some good news about the weather. We're getting some good news. We're going to get a little bit of rain, but
you know, there's only a 30% chance over the weekend, so that's not a high probability that you'll see a lot of it, just a sprinkling here and there. It's really into Monday where the temperatures continue to cool down a bit and that wet weather will linger. But looking at tomorrow, we're shaping up to be a beautiful day, mostly clear in the morning. As I mentioned during my main weather, a chance for fog, so be cautious if it is foggy, but overall, not too shabby.
Okay. All right. Sorry, I don't have a script for you here, by the way.
That's okay.
We're going to have to just follow along and wing this one. But we're talking about ice cream, I believe.
Oh, I like an ice cream on a hot summer's day.
I'm in.
Yes.
One scoop or two. That's always an important consideration for ice cream lovers. But that was not an issue for one fan of the frozen treat who showed up unannounced at a California ice cream shop. I feel like we're getting into an animal. I knew it. I knew it was going to be an animal the way that was unfolding.
And not us at the ice cream shop.
No, not us. Police found this bear behind the counter in South Lake Tahoe on Sunday. Perhaps not surprising when you're that close to the mountains. But anyhow, deputies say the animal appeared particularly interested in strawberry. Ashley.
I like a strawberry ice cream. I can't blame them.
I do too. It didn't really seem like it wanted to share though.
Well, the bear didn't cause much damage and eventually left. This was not the first such visit in the city. Back in May, another bear ran off with 3 gallons, get this, of chocolate chip cookie dough from a different parlor.
Okay,
I think he told his friends.
He probably did. You know, where's cookies and cream in all this? It never gets any love.
You know, next time.
That's my favorite.
It's a good one.
Yours?
Mint chocolate.
All right.
Yeah.
Solid choice.
Thank you.
See you at 11:30.